You ever wonder how a simple idea, maybe something sketched on a napkin, turns into a massive, real-world project? Well, today, we're going to tell that story. We're following the paper trail, the step-by-step journey that takes a spark of inspiration and turns it into a signed, sealed, and delivered deal. So, how does it all happen? It's not just random chance. It's actually a really well-defined journey with clear signposts along the way. And it's all guided by a series of documents. And each one plays a super specific role in getting from that initial, hey, we need something, all the way to a signed contract. All right, so here's our roadmap for this whole story. We're starting with the quest begins. Then we'll see how a champion is chosen. We'll look at the intent to partner, how we seal the deal, and, of course, the final agreement. Then we'll wrap it all up by looking at the key differences between all these steps. Every great project, and I mean every great project, starts with a story. And our story kicks off the second an organization looks around and says, you know what, we've got a need. It could be a problem that needs solving or a huge opportunity they want to grab. And that single moment, that kicks off this whole structured journey to find the absolute perfect partner to make it all happen. And check this out. This shows you the entire path. It all starts with that need identified. That triggers a request for proposal or an RFP. Basically, they're asking, who can do this for us? Once the bids come in and get evaluated, the company signals its interest with a letter of intent, then confirms the winner with a letter of acceptance. And boom, the contract is signed and the project begins. So how in the world do you find the right champion for the job? Well, it all starts with a fair and totally transparent process. You gotta have a set of rules of the game that ensures everybody gets a fair shot, and more importantly, that the organization finds the absolute best partner for the job. For the really big projects, this process is often called International Competitive Bidding, or ICB. You can think of it like a global talent search. It's like you're sending out a casting call to the entire world, because when you invite bids from everywhere, you create this incredibly competitive environment that brings out the absolute best of the best. And this is so crucial. The goal here isn't just about finding the cheapest price, not at all. This whole process is designed to make sure everything is fair and transparent, sure, but it's also about pushing for higher quality and new ideas. The real win is getting the best overall value for the project. All right, so after a super tough evaluation process, the organization has probably found a frontrunner. They've got a favorite. But before they make that final binding commitment, they signal their interest with a really important first document, the letter of intent. A letter of intent, or LOI, is basically a formal handshake on paper. Let's use an analogy. If the final contract is the marriage certificate, the LOI is that big conversation where you both agree to start dating exclusively. It shows you're serious, but it's not the final legally binding promise yet. And this is where the LOI is just so valuable. For the bidder who gets it, it's a massive confidence boost. It's like a green light to start getting your ducks in a row and mobilizing resources. And for both sides, it's this critical alignment tool. It creates a framework for those final, really high-stakes negotiations, making sure everyone is on the same page about the big stuff before they get lost in the legal details. Okay, so once those final negotiations are done and the decision is absolutely locked in, the relationship levels up. It moves from just preliminary intent to official acceptance. And this is where our next key document comes into play. The letter of acceptance, or LOA, is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. If we're sticking with our analogy, if the LOI was agreeing to date, the LOA is the official engagement announcement. It's the formal confirmation that says, congratulations, you got the job. And this moment is huge. The LOA officially closes the competitive bidding chapter of our story. For the winner, this is it. This is the moment they know for sure the contract is theirs and they can really start getting ready to sign the final agreement and get to work. And that brings us to the climax of our whole pre-project story, making the partnership legally official. This is it, the final step that turns all those talks and handshakes into something real, something enforceable. The contract agreement. This is the final boss. It's the marriage certificate and the super detailed prenup all rolled into one. This is the big one. It's exhaustive, it's legally binding, and it details absolutely everything. Payment schedules, quality standards, what happens if things go wrong. From this point on, this document governs the entire project. Okay, so we've met our three main characters in this story, the LOI, the LOA, and the contract. They might sound kind of similar, But they have very, very different jobs, so let's just break down exactly how they differ. This table just lays it all out perfectly. You see the progression, right? The LOI is that first exploratory step. It's just an intention and it's non-binding. Then the LOA is the formal acceptance, signaling a real commitment. And finally, the contract is the ultimate legally binding obligation that runs the whole show. You can see the whole journey right there, from intention to acceptance to obligation. And with that final signature on the contract, our procurement story comes to a close. But, as one chapter ends, a brand new one begins. All the planning is over, the agreements are set in stone, and now the real work, the actual execution of the project, officially kicks off. So, by understanding this whole structured path, from just a simple need all the way to a binding contract, you now have the map to navigate this journey yourself. The process is the guide. The amazing idea that you bring to life, well, that's the destination.